Hello and welcome back. I am DarcyBits. I'm not entirely sure how today's going to go. We have been making Gods of Winter using Urza's artificial intelligence. An AI-generated set that is intended to be the first set of a three-set block. You know what I mean. Point is, we finished Gods of Winter. And now it is time to sort of look through the set, figure out where the synergies lie, figure out where the flavor comes together, and figure out what the next set in the block should be called. And so I'm not exactly sure what that discussion looks like. So I guess let's just get started and see what happens. This is probably going to be a bit more of a casual video than I usually have, although, honestly, my stuff is very casual anyway, I suppose, if I think about it. But I'm going to be a little bit less high energy, probably. And all these cards we've seen before if you watch my previous videos in the series. So nothing new. Let's see what we've got. Let's revisit the things from the beginning of the set that I don't remember. Let's see. I guess I'm going to kind of treat this like I was opening like a sealed thing. I guess I should say we are using Tabletop Simulator to render our AI-generated cards and move them around the field. Up here are the sort of land designs that I originally made. By the time you're seeing this, you may have commented on what I should keep in the real set, but for now we're just going to ignore those because I have not seen those comments yet. The video that said comments would be on has not been released at the time of this recording. Anyway, I think I'm going to sort of treat this like I would if I was playing sealed. I'm going to sort of pull out things of like color, things of like effect. Like, so here we're seeing a whenever you gain life trigger. So life gain is a theme of the set that we've seen. How many sort of colors fall into that life gain matters thing. I think every color has at least a little bit. We can sort of get a good idea of how many of each color, what are the good color pairs, stuff like that. So I guess we're gonna sort of start with just a little bit of sorting, interestingly, or maybe not interestingly. This might be the beginning of a cut. All right. So yeah, let's see. That's Icy Death cares about when you regain life and deals damage to any target. Pretty scary stuff. Urza Unhallowed. Opponent reveals their hand and you get to discard something from it randomly. That's pretty cool. Icy Skulker. Okay, we have some pirates. Oh, yeah, this is the one with Swashbuckler. What a cool keyword. You spend the cost of Swashbuckler to return an unblocked attacker to your hand, and then you get to draw a card. So that's like a card draw, sort of bounce effect kind of thing. That might be relevant in a few different archetypes. Eternal Bonds. For each creature you control, you may tap or untap target creature. That's sort of a freeze effect. I don't think there's anything that like cares about that, but interesting as sort of a design around, sort of a flavor design standpoint. We might see more of that. Whenever you cast a black spell, you may put a creature card from your hand to the battlefield. That is stupid. That's just really... Why did I keep this card? This card's dumb. What? Wow. Alright. Big stuff in black, I guess. Keeper of Silence. Ah, yes. The infamous Keeper. The one I kept thinking about the entire time I was forging everything else and used it largely as a measuring stick in my mind of what is too powerful, because this card's dumb. This card's... Whew, okay. I think I'm going to put this in, like, Flying and Flying Hate is sort of something I want to sort of look at, because there is both sides of that coin. I think that's going to hopefully keep things in check. Keldon War Machine, 2-mana enchantment. If you control another red creature, create a red creature. Sweet. I like it. It is a sort of artifacts token generator, so like tokens and artifacts, maybe there's something there. This is going to be a mess soon, I'm sure. Veteran Patrol. Okay. ETB, create a... It's a token, but so it's basically just goes across 2 bodies. Also maybe like Elf Matters. I think Elf Matters is a thing. Let's maybe make a pile for Elf Matters. This is going to be a weird video. I can tell. Embalm. Okay, so this is green-black. That's relevant. It buys back. Target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. This card is probably too strong. I wouldn't be surprised at all. So other than just being green-black, I don't have anything to say about this, but cool. I guess it's res type stuff. What was that one we saw? Swashbuckler. Sort of multicolor stuff. Ice Fiend, protection from white. Okay. Tap until end of turn. It gets 5/5 flying and trample. Which is cool. It's sort of a defense. It's the untap. Right. There was like I'm like remembering stuff from the set. Oh, that's cool. From the forging process. Yeah, there was this sort of sub-theme of untapping, which I think was largely something I associated with Nissa Ravane, but then she got rerolled because she didn't finish rendering. Fungal Plunderer, sack a creature. So sack outlet is a thing. I don't know how much there's stuff that cares about sacking, but there's a lot of ways of sacrificing stuff. Gains Infect, yeah. It is interesting looking at an entire set and being like, if this is my sealed pool, 1 copy of every card in the set, what does my deck look like? That feels like a fun format to do. It's like it's a lot of cards to look at. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of cards here, but they just I don't know. I would be interested in doing that and seeing if you took 2 players and you said you both have exactly 1 copy of every card in the set, build a deck. Maybe you get to do 60 cards, right? Maybe it's bigger because you have a larger pool. Like, what decks would you come up with? Would you come up with similar decks? I mean, after you like know the format, a meta would form if that was like an actual thing. But if you just had it as a one-off thing in a game night, I think that would be interesting. Anyway, protection from black. Okay, so we have what was the protection from white? Ice Fiend is a 3 mana 3/4 elemental protection from white. Tap becomes a 5/5 with flying and trample until end of turn. Whereas Celestial Enforcer is an Aetherborn. It has protection from black, so that's really the only place where the similarities are. Okay, I thought maybe there might be something about that. That'd be interesting. 1 mana, 1/1 for 3. You can prevent damage that will be dealt to you specifically. Okay. Sunforger is a Sphinx. Of course it is. That's what the that makes sense. ETB, gain 2 life. Okay, so life gain. Where's my life gain card? Here? Okay. Erebos' Crypt. ETB, you may sack black or red, so okay, we got the black and red matters. I remember that being a thing. If you do, search your library for a creature with mana value equal to that creature's power. This card's cool. I don't know if it's good or not, but it's very cool. Probably is pretty good. What was that other stupid one we saw? Yep. Big stuff in black. Let's see what we got. Moros the Behemoth. Okay, another 2-color thing. Actually 2-color, though, not just an effect in the card text. They're a dinosaur. They're legendary. I should, like, pull out all the legendaries and look at sort of what the legendaries are up to. Ooh, I also want to make sure I pull out all the gods. I mean, if I ever see a god, I want to pull them out because the set's called Gods of Winter, and I need to keep track of all the gods that we see. Anyway, this is a 4 mana 6/6 with trample. Creatures, but your creatures your opponents control get +2/+2. Yeah! That one's yeah, this one's fun. This one's actually really cool. I'm very into that kind of dynamic where it's just like, yeah, no, it helps your opponent to offset that it's very strong. Can you make that work? It's fun. I like it. Yeah, this is just kind of big stuff deck. I mean, actually, what might be decent is like something like Moros Behemoth, and then you sacrifice it with Erebos' Crypt, and you get something else that has 6 power, right? Like, that would be a creature card with mana value equal to the creature's power. Okay, right. So, but that's like 7 mana. 7 mana and 2 cards to tutor for a 6 mana cost card put directly in the battlefield. I would try for it. That's like my jam. Hunt for Aerith. Maybe I should just do it that way. Maybe that'd be easier. It's daunting to try and keep track of everything in the set. Hunt for Aerith with a lowercase I. I mean, you're right, but you meant A. Fair enough. 4 mana, begin your upkeep. Gain X life for X number of snow perms you control. Okay, so it's another life gain card. Cool. Creatures battle. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Untap those creatures. Cool. That goes into the untap theme. Where's the... This one's the untap one. Yes, because if this thing doesn't untap, it doesn't get to do its cool thing. Wait, but it has protection from white. Oh, I didn't notice that the entire time. I wonder if anyone left a comment on that. I don't remember reading a comment about that. Yeah. Oh, wow. Protection's a weird mechanic. Like, hexproof is only things your opponents, like, is only opponents, but protection is not. Ink Fathom Drone, 2 mana, 2/2, flying. When it attacks, return target creature to its owner's hand. Cool. Very cool. Draconic Shredder, 2 mana, 1/1. As long as it's your turn, it gets +1/+1 and has double strike. I like this card. This card's fun. It's a fun card. I like that. I don't know where to put this. It doesn't. It's not like a specific. There's no archetype here. It's just a cool card. I like it. Put you over here. Last Hope, 4 mana, +3/+1 and trample. Cool. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna need just like a, these are cool cards, but I don't have an archetype folder. Pile. Each creature you control may tap or untap target creature. I'm gonna actually put you over in this pile. Not that pile. Creatures battle. Yeah. I don't know. Frostblade Arcanist, 2 mana, 2/2. Ogre Shaman. Okay, Ogre Shaman. Ooh, I also want to sort all the cards into, like, creature type. There's too much stuff I want to do. Who has the time? Another non-token creature you control dies. You exile it. If you do, return up to 1 other target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. You gain life for each creature hard exiled this way. So it's a life gain payoff and like a big stuff payoff. Cool. This card's cool. I'm very into these effects. There's a few of them in the set that exile something of yours for some benefit. And it's sort of like the drawback is you can't do like graveyard stuff to get. It's not just when it dies. I think that's fun, especially with this one, right? Because like it returns something from your graveyard to the battlefield, but you know it doesn't go into the graveyard, so you can't do it again. Yeah, no, this card's fun. I like this card a lot. Rune Forged Bow, enchant creature, +2/+2, has reach. When enchanted creature dies, you gain 2 life. Okay. Interesting. I'm gonna actually put you over here. Yeah. Karplusan Strangler, 4 mana, 5/5. Defender. Okay. Another creature you control dies. It deals 1 damage to any target. Cool. I don't know what to do with this card. I just like it. What are you? Plant Skeleton? Oh, right. Sacrifice. Okay, actually, yeah. Let's put you together. That works. Hellion Skyrider. This is a cool Minotaur. Flying, haste, deals combat damage to a player, put a counter on it. This thing's scary. Wow, that's gonna punch some faces. Early game. That is a scary aggro threat. 7th Progenitor, 2 mana, 2/2, Spirit. When it attacks, gain 2 life. Okay. Choose X creature cards. They gain Indestructible. They can't be... Right. This is one of the ones where the reminder text is incorrect. I think my general ruling... I didn't notice this when we first forged it. It was mentioned in the comments. A few people caught that. And yeah, I think I'm gonna basically rule that if a word does not exist in Magic, but it has reminder text, that reminder text applies. But if a real keyword is used on a card and it has the wrong reminder text, that reminder text doesn't apply. I think I'm just going to use that ruling. Although normally I would have just re-ruled this because I prefer not to have those discrepancies if I can avoid it. Anyway, this it's interesting. I don't know exactly how useful it is, but it's interesting. I don't have a pile for you. Let's just throw you over there. Artful Dodger, 2 mana, +2/+2. Control 1 non-land permanent. Wonder if I should be putting like auras in a pile. Is there an aura payoff? I can't remember. There's a payoff for having like multiple equipments attached to the same thing. I should put all my artifacts in wild space. There's a few things that care about artifacts mattering. That's a good idea. +2/+2 as long as you control a non-land permanent. It's just +2/+2. Yeah. Yeah, let's make an enchantment pile, I guess. It's not going to be complete with everything. 2 mana, what are you? Deals 1 damage to our creature, gain 1 life. Okay, yeah. Put that in the life gain pile, unless it has something else we need to know about. A little bit of ramping. It's a cool little card. I'm not spending too much time on each card, because... well, I'm trying to go through the entire set, basically, in sort of a review fashion. You may pay 1 if you do draw a card. That sounds great. Meltdown, sorcery. Gain life equal to the sacrifice creature's toughness. Okay. Also cares about sacrifice if that's something you care about for some reason. Equip creature gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control. There it is. Okay, there is an enchantment matters thing. Yeah. There's a lot of enchantments though. It's not just auras. This card's cool. Didn't I start with some kind of enchantment or artifact or something? I feel like I might have. Maybe not. Guess not. Partic Migration. Kicker. +1/+0. If it was kicked, gains flying. This seems mostly bad, but I don't know. Maybe like instants matter in some decks. Seer's Eye. Human Shaman. Cast an instant sorcery spell. You may put a question mark counter on Seer's Eye. Which is not actually a payoff for casting instant sorcery spells. There's other things that I think are payoffs, but not this one. For 2 and tap, you can look at the top card of your library. You can put that card into your hand. Sweet. Repel the Dark, 3 mana enchantment. Beginning of your opponent's upkeep. Repel the Dark does 2 damage to that player unless that player pays black. That is... that's gross. Fated Retribution, 3 mana enchantment. -X, X the number of creatures you control. That's good. Yeah. Kai-Shi. Enters the battlefield. Under your control, you may draw a card. Do I want to make a card drawing pile? Maybe. I don't think I have a lot of stuff that cares. I guess it's okay. I don't need to find, like, synergies necessarily. I need to find the places where, you know, like, how much card draw is in these different colors. Maybe that's what I should be looking at. Yeah, maybe that is what I should be looking at. I'm not going to catch everything. But that seems like a good spot to start. Buyback. It's kind of like drawing a card. There's not like a synergy payoff for drawing. Well, yeah, maybe there will be. What do I remember? There's a lot of cards in this set I don't remember. But it'll show us sort of like, okay, what colors are doing this thing, right? Are there themes of the colors? That is useful to know. Emperor may just chill, destroy target creature or enchantment, and it can't be regenerated. Cool, nice little destroy spell. Yeah, actually, let's look at just. I want to look at kill spells too. So, what are the kill options? What's this? Oh, that's the untapped deck. Yeah. Let's put this over here. Probably missed some kill spells. Let's do a quick look for them. Okay. Black spell. Opponent. It's damage. Enchantments matter. Creating stuff. Deal 2 damage. Double strike. Dies. Sacrifice. Cool. That's good for now. Minotaurs and shamans matter. This very likely Minotaur shaman, but Minotaur officially. Because that's what it says on the card. That is... oh, right, I forgot about this one. This one was also brought to my attention, is that it does not say red Minotaur creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. I think I'd errata that to end of turn. Like, I feel like that's the point. Yeah, that one needs errata. Generally wouldn't do that, but also I would generally have rerolled if I'd noticed, so it counts. Howl of the Hunt. +2/+2. If you control 2 or more different creatures. What? 2 or more creatures with different powers. That creature, the target creature, I guess, gains trample until end of turn. Cool. Another just sort of instant speed thing. Winter Reaper. Number of cards in hand. Oh! I think I'm gonna put you in the in the card draw matters one. That's interesting. Surge of Hope. Deal 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. You gain 3 life. Another gain life effect. Forgotten Frost. Enters the battlefield. Return. Return non-land permanent you control to its owner's hand. Okay. 4 mana. Return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. That is. There's just too much graveyard shenanigans. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control a creature with flying, draw a card. Okay. What's this one again? Right. Draw, kill. Whenever another creature dies, put a 1/1 counter on Blazesinger. Brute. Okay, I'm going to put that in this sort of like sacrifice matters section. It's not exclusively sacrifice, but it's relevant. What just happened? Something tried to do something. Card object has no name. What? Okay, that's fine. Weird. Frostman Cloak, you're an artifact. Yeah, I want to make sure I have an artifact pile. So we're going to just slap you down there, but for the time being, yeah, can't block. Sure. Instant, return target creature you control to its owner's hand. Okay, didn't I think I had some cards somewhere. Well, I'm thinking of the swashbuckler. The return a card to your hand, and it had another upside, but theoretically that would be useful to do something. This is more about a like trying to save something's life effect, I think, more so than a. Obviously, it's worse than just like a flicker, but oh well. I guess in some situations it might be better than a flicker. Depends, but rarely. I'm just gonna slap you over here. I don't know what that is. Nether Aven, flying. Okay, cool. Viper, that's a Pokemon. Okay, it's a worm. ETB. Each opponent loses life. You gain life. Great. Each opponent loses life. Activate. Great. Put you in the life game matters. Battle Duster. Another artifact. Equip creature blocks or becomes blocked. Destroy the blocking creature at the end of combat. That's interesting. Probably not good, but interesting. Steam Coil Burst, 3 mana, additional cost against spells, sacrifice a creature. Creatures you control go +1/+1. Okay. Create a treasure token. Or I guess, one or both. Exile target artifact or enchantment. Exiling an enchantment is basically removal in a set like this. I'm gonna put that in the removal pile. Winter Sanctuary, whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell or ability. Right. Yes. A lot of discussion about this one. Good thoughts that I wouldn't have thought of. Basically just like sort of tech against some of the like tap down effects that we're seeing in other colors. You know. Right. For each creature you control, you may tap or untap target creature. If you want to tap down in my board, now you've given them all +1/+1 counters. Cool. One must be vigilant against treachery in winter. When ice meets the trees, warmth becomes the new cold. I wonder if we could, like, find... You know how sometimes Magic will do that thing where they have, like, 3 cards that follow chronologically to tell a little mini-story? It'd be fun if there were some that we could, like... could pair up cards to make them into... like, retroactively have them tell a story. That'd be fun. I don't know where to put this. Whatever. This is a mess. Let's not pretend it isn't. Enchanted creature dies, destroy target creature, opponent controls. Yeah, this one's cool, actually. It's not like good, but it is like limited playable, which I like that space. I am quite a limited player, honestly. Flames of the Blood Boiler. Artifact, okay. ETB, Flames of the Blood Boiler deals 2 damage to the target. 2. Oh, whenever a creature enters the battlefield. To that creature's controller. Okay, good. I was like, wait, does it just do 2 damage to that creature? That's brutal. But no, that's not the case. 3 mana. It deals 2 damage to any target. Sweet. Sweet. Stone Rime Walker. Sacrifice to gain 3 life. Okay. Until end of turn, this gains flying, land lifelink, but loses all other abilities. So I can no longer... Cool. Sajiri, Master of Divination. Target player discards a card. Activate only if you have those cards in hand. So you have to be hellbent to even use this. Wasn't there a discard card somewhere that we wanted to like look at? Yes, this one. Okay. Scrap Raptor. Flash, flying. Can't be blocked this turn. This thing's just a big, dumb Timmy card, and I like it. Shrine Broker. That's a great name. As a result of trade, he had his eye removed and replaced with a perfect polished shell. Great. I don't have anything to say about this card. I probably should have been making a stack of cards that have like ramp ability, tap for stuff, or get lands. I did not make a pile for that though, so I don't know where to put that. Alhazard of Righteousness. This is a god. They're not a legendary god, they're just a god. They seem pretty legendary, but I guess it's not a proper name. Destroys an enchantment. Cool. I guess I'll put that sort of over in this section. Now let's put it over here, I guess, to go with the other legendary that we have there. Have we seen any other legendaries? Did I just, like, completely look by something? Very, very possible. I know there's a legendary in here. Like, I think at the bottom of this stack there's a legendary. Ta-da! Girapur sword. But that's fine. I'm okay with that. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm not sure if there's any other legendaries that I just sort of skimmed past without noticing. I mean, that one is. Moros the Behemoth. Might have been when we first started talking about legendaries. And of course, I looked at the top card of each of these stacks, but a lot of these have like a few cards in them already, so. Might have missed some, that's fine. We'll get to it later. Chant Aura, +1/+1 has haste. Whenever you do combat damage to a player, gain life. Okay, lifelink. First strike, core power. We never got to see core power do its thing. Unfortunate. Hana Tang Commander, core power. We were hoping we'd see another core soldier in the set. Whenever this or another core soldier enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control gain first strike until end of turn. I think it's still probably fine, honestly. Like, just like first strike until end of turn is pretty cool. It's not like instant speed or anything, but still pretty cool. And of course, Hana Empress of Core we could make them a core soldier if we wanted to. There was recently like a lord that was like a king, not lord in the colloquial sense. That was still typed as a soldier, right? I don't think that's out of place. Anyway, what am I doing with this card? I don't know. Relentless Pursuit to avenge their kin. +1/+0 has haste. Oh, cool. Yeah. Hibernation German. I don't know why I love this name so much. It's so funny to me. Destroy X non-land permanents, then create X treasure tokens. This card's probably broken. Yeah, this card's good. I'm gonna call it good, not broken. Okay, another sort of rampy thing. Let's go through you over there. I know we've already seen some that are not in that pile, but oh well. Throne of Glory. Non-land card name. Reveal the top 3 cards of your library. For each non-land card revealed this way, put into your hand, then shuffle. So the choosing the non-land card name doesn't actually factor into this. Okay. It's just reveal 3 for each non-land card revealed, put them into your hand, then shuffle. So 4 mana, draw 3 or less. Cool. We'll put you into drawing and or hand size matters. Destroy target enchantment and cycling. Cool. Put you over here in the sort of it's a destroy effect. Chill Maggle. 4 mana, enchant creature, +3/+3, has lifelink. When it enters, gain 3 life. Goes directly into the life game pile. Nice. Purity's Guide. ETB. Number of 1/1 counters equal to the greatest number of creatures and or enchantment tokens you control. Whenever a 1/1 counter is put on Purity's Guide, you gain 2 life. I probably asked this in the original video. Does the last line see the counters it enters with as being put on them? I'm just not sure because I know there's that whole thing where it's like when a counter would be put on something, put 2 and like double that number of counters, and that works for like planeswalkers even though they enter with those counters. I think that's stupid. So this might just like make you just a bajillion life. Okay. Razor Cat! First strike cat. Deals 3 damage to our creature and opponent controls. Sweet. That's kind of killish. Yeah, sure, let's put you in the kill spell section. Why not? Nemesis of the Young. Another creature you control dies. Each opponent discards a card. Okay. That both goes in the sort of Sacrifice Matters deck, maybe, and also in the Discard Matters. I didn't realize there was so much green discard stuff. I mean, not much. Like, at least more than one. Cursed by Ice. Target player draws 2 cards. Cool. Better version of that other spell that we just saw. 4 mana. Choose a non-land card name. Reveal the top 3 cards of your library. For each non-land card revealed. Right, so white was made first. I wonder if I would have re-rolled this card if white came out after black. That's just a lot better. Frostmourne Skyblazer. Texas Combat Fable. Has flying. Cool. Angelic Feast. Turn other non-land permanents to their owner's hand. Cool. Not exactly sure where to put this, but nice to have an effect like that. Chill of the Grave. Wait. Is there another card called Chill of the Grave? I feel like I already saw one of those today. What am I thinking of? It was like... I mean, I guess it's not that surprising if I did. It's kind of a theme of the set. Flavor-wise. Winter Sanctuary? No, I guess not. Prevent all combat damage that we dealt this turn, and you gain 3 life. Cool. Quag Slinger. Ah, the Quag Slinger. Let's talk about this one for a bit. So this one, I did throw to the comments saying, hey, how would you interpret this? And I think most people agreed, and one person cited a, like, official rules documentation, which says that the terminology of discard explicitly in its rules explanation does say take a card from that's in your hand and put it in your graveyard, right? So you can't, even regardless of the fact that they don't use the term to say discard from play, if they did, it would be inaccurate. Like, you can't discard from the battlefield. You have to discard from hand. So, as Quagslinger enters the battlefield, you may reveal equipment card you own from the outside the game. Put it into your hand. If you do, discard Quagslinger. So, I think that just ignores the last line. I think it's more interesting of a card if you say you may either play this as a 3-mana 3/2 or a 3-mana like sorcery that allows you to reveal an equipment from outside the game, put it in your hand. But honestly, I don't mind it being that it gets to do both. Like, I think that's fine. So it just means if you do, you discard Quagslinger, and you will just simply fail to do so because it's not in your hand. That's, I think, how I'm going to rule this one. But I don't know. There's another one I had set aside because it had like a weird ruling. What was that one? Oh, yeah, it was Windrider Arrows because of the Minotaur creatures get +1/+1 with no end. Trilobite Cacodemon. That is quite the name for a dinosaur. 4 mana, 0/4. ETB with a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the number of colors spent to cast it. Ooh, actually, there is like a very, very, very subtle domain theme. Let's see what all the domain cards are. There's a few of them in the set. Raven Hunter, it's an illusion, it has flying. When you gain life, draw a card. Okay, so this is both a card draw thing and a life gain payoff. So we've got our card draws over here. Very cool. I'm gonna put it in the life gain because it's like it's life gain payoff. A lot of things do card draw. Apathy, enemy of the mind, 4 mana. Legendary Gorgon. Flat out regenerate anything that dies for a black. That's pretty cool. As the blind god was driven from Icos, the only place left was his throne room, his arena, and his reflection. Okay. I'm just going to put you over here. You're both don't really combo with other things going on, and you're legendary, and we want to sort of gather our legendaries. This is not legendary, this is just a god, but we also want to keep track of those, so they're over here too. Sly Griff, 2 mana, 2/2, Elf Scout. When it dies, create a bear. Oh yeah, this is elf, like, Elves Matter. Where is my Elves Matter? Yeah, over here. Whenever this or another elf you control dies, you make a bear. I love it. I think that's awesome. And it's a 2/2 for 2 itself. It's great. Very fun. Obnixilis of Progenitus. Not a legendary. It's a 7 mana 6/6. This or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Okay. It's also an elf, but whatever. Death Spelting. Ah, yes, Death Spelting. Pashnaisi off 30. I remember you. 2 mana, enchant creature. Gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control at the beginning of your upkeep. You lose life to the number of artifacts you control. I'm just going to put that in the artifacts section. It's not an artifact itself, but it cares about artifacts. Enchantment creature. Gorgon. Another Gorgon. Cool. Whenever you cast a spirit or arcane spell. Oh yeah, spirits. I forgot spirits matter in this. Arcane, not so much, but that's just the way that it makes sense that the AI would pick up that entire phrase, because you see that so often whenever you cast a spirit or arcane spell. Like, that's just like a string that has been slapped in here, even though the arcane part is irrelevant. Metallic Skinned Lizard gains indestructible until end of turn. You can also spend white to give it +1/+1 until end of turn. This card's just good. It's a good card. I don't know where to put you. In the just good pile. I'll put you over here because you're a Gorgon. I don't know. Dying Rites. Target creature gets +1/+0. Gains indestructible until end of turn. Damage effect that say destroy, don't destroy it. Great. Cool. Instant speed. Being an instant. Actually, yeah. Let's put in sort of like protection. Maybe there should be like a protection thing. Stop things from dying, so like counter spells and stuff. Nissa's Intervention. She did make it into the set eventually, I believe. There is a Nissa Ravane card, right? 2 mana, 1/1 elf. ETB, you gain 4 life. Tap. What a clean little card that is. I'm just gonna do that. Tormadad. Legendary enchantment, Centaur. Probably something else as well, but oh well. No, this card is beautiful. Beautiful card. Put you over with my legendaries. Overmaster's Call. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land. Put that card into your hand, the rest on the bottom. Right, this card kind of doesn't do anything, but it does trigger anything that cares about like instants and sorceries, so that's kind of cool. Youngu, 4 mana, legendary creature. When you cast a spell with mana value 3 or less, create X 1/1s. This card's very cool, actually. The idea of making a deck that's all 3 or less except for this one. Like, I would play this as a commander. You know? Like, this is actually a really cool commander. Because it encourages you to play in a very specific, like, a different way than you might have built a deck before. I mean, that said, like, Boros does like to be cheap. Like 3 mana as the top of their curve, so probably is a thing that people have built a deck for before, but hey, good payoff for a deck you're already building, maybe. Regenerating Winter Tyrant. Return to your battlefield. Right, yes, it's a regenerating Winter Tyrant. It comes back at the beginning of the next end step. I just like this card. That's all. I don't have anything special to say about it. Infernal Agony. I guess I could care about, like, things where, like, dying matters. Oh, that's a good point, actually. When a creature dies. Well, also, this is lifelink. I kind of hadn't noticed that. Yeah, that could also go in the life game matters deck. I feel like there is, like, actually really decent synergy across cards in this set. I'm very happy with it. There's, like, not just one archetype and not just a bunch of random cards that don't synergize. Like, because that's what happens with AI a lot of the time, right? You just kind of make a bunch of cards, and the best thing to do is just play the cards that are standalone strongest. There aren't these like cool synergies that pay off and are more powerful than just the flat good strong cards are. Or there is one, but it's like there's a specific combo and that's the only thing that matters. But I think there's a lot of stuff going on here. I'm very happy with it. Also, like, dinosaurs are a theme, apparently. There's a few dinosaurs in this set, so that's fun. I like that. Big winter wasteland with dinosaurs. This is great. Yeah. Put that over here with the stuff where, you know, sack outlet, when things die. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Infernal Agonies. All creatures get -1/-1 until our turn for each card in your hand. Holy crap. Okay. I mean, it is 5 mana and a sorcery, so wouldn't you rather have just Wrath? Sometimes. Depends if things are indestructible or not. Cool. Glade Wall. Ah, the plant wall. This wall's great. I don't... Look. I've seen the comments. Look, I'm justified in what I've said. This is an elf. I should put you over here in the elf deck. Elf matters, yeah. I don't know where to put this, though. It's just, like, a cool card. Like, regenerating doesn't count as dying, for example, so there's not actually a real reason to put it over with these things. It can't, it's like when you would die, don't, right? Abandon Hope, additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice X creatures. Abandon Hope deals X damage to each creature and each player. Yeah. I think I'm gonna put this in like the tokens matter. There's like a tokens matter over here, right? Somewhere? I don't know. I'm just gonna slap you over in this section. Warheart Herald, Human Warrior, first strike, sacrifice a creature, target creature gets +1/+1 on turn. Cool. Put you over here in the like sort of sacrifice synergy. Deep Freeze Nymph. Oh, rad. That's Making the Reds was like maybe my favorite. You should go rewatch the Reds one. I had a blast making those. They were so funny to me. Very, very up my alley. Which is weird because I don't like playing red usually. But design-wise, I really liked them. Talia, the legendary Eldrazi. Oh, I forgot about this back in when we did blue. 3 mana, 3/4. Beginning of each end step. If you gained life, put a creature from your graveyard on top of your library. I don't even know if you want that a lot of the time. It's kind of like tutoring in a weird way. If something's in your graveyard, return it. It doesn't return to your hand. Still, 3 mana, 3/4. So, Talia the Heretic Cathar. Heretic faith inspires violence in all who join it. You're not wrong. Armored Warcaster, Human Soldier, flying, can't be blocked. Sweet, cool little multicolor flyer. I like that. Soul Rending Sphinx. It's not a Sphinx, it's a cat spirit, but it could have been a Sphinx. Whenever another creature dies, return it to its owner's hand. Symmetrical. Oh, cool. How do you make this one, like, better for you? I mean, part is you could put it in, like, your sacrifice outlet, when things die matters deck, and then just things die, and then you get them in your hand, and you play them again. It's kind of cool. But your opponent's also... Okay. Although also, often when you want to sort of have that payoff be, like, tokens dying. Yeah, Bonsai is saying sacrifice or things in hands matter. Yeah. Making sure your hand just isn't empty is a big part. It'd be hard to clear your opponent's board. Yeah. Interesting card, though. It's so cool seeing the white ones in, because I haven't seen them in so long. When did we start making this set? Sergeant at Arms enters the battlefield, draw a card. Cool. Hoarding Mind, 4 mana, enchant creature. I think it's minus power. And then it has 3 mana, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. I love this design. I know we talked a lot about it in the video, but the idea of just like, here is a card. It's an enchantment with an activated ability, but it needs to be carried by a host. You need to have some host carrying this creature. And you can put it on your opponent's thing, so that doesn't do as much damage. But then they might like sacrifice it or block with it and have it die, so maybe you don't want to do that, so you have to put it on your own thing, but then your thing is not going to be able to attack, and I think it's cool. Cool. I'm gonna put that in a removal. It's not really, but it's like it balances a form of removal. Aladdin's Riddle. 5 mana, 4/3. Another Gorgon. Cool. Cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 3/3. Oh, this is the instant and sorcery payoff. That's probably busted. Wow, what? Make a red and green menace creature token that has menace, first strike, trample, and haste. That's too strong. Is it legendary? It's not. Okay, cool. Dreamwalk Octopus. What a great name. And it's an illusion? Ah, so cool. Flying. When you gain life. Okay. When we counter target creature control. Not necessarily this. Very, very cool. Malakir Consulate. Ooh, a Phyrexian. I wonder if this is the first Phyrexian we've seen. I've sort of been glazing over the type line. In Malakir, only power is sacred. Only fear is merciful. Baba Vasa, conspiracy theorist. Ah, I remember you. It's just a great name. 6 mana, 4/4 menace. Spend 2 and discard a card. Okay, so if like self-discard's probably not going to matter, but you actually might want that in like the draw deck, so because drawing helps you make sure you have cards to discard. But really you just want to add something that's go wide, so you can get as much benefit from the pump. That's a pretty cheap pump if you have the cards in hand. That's cool. I think I just want to make a pile of Phyrexians so I can see what the Phyrexians are doing on this plane. Steelcraft, 2 mana enchantment. Creature control deals combat damage. You may draw a card. Okay. Sigarda, Witch Queen of Winter. Not legendary, unfortunately. Very cool. They have Constellation, which means not what you think it means. It means at the beginning of your upkeep, you may have a target opponent exile an online card from their graveyard. If you do... Wait. Cool. Create a 1/1 white and black. I wonder how this works, right? It's like you may have them exile a non-land card from their graveyard. Do they get to choose the card? It doesn't say it's a target card or anything. And then, if their graveyard is empty, I think I'm not allowed, like I have to choose no in the may? Or can I say, I will have them exile. I'm sure I asked this before, and I'm sure people answered. I'm sorry. I do read the comments. It's just been a long time. This card's cool. I like to read this as, like, your opponent gets to choose the card. If their graveyard is empty, you can't have target opponent exile a non-land card from their graveyard. So it's more about just, like, as long as your opponent has cards in their graveyard, non-lands, then you get one of these every turn. That's my interpretation. I like that. Also, yeah, the mana cost is, like, right up to the edge, but it is actually 3. I remember confirming that with the JSON. The Tower of Winter is hollow and silent, awaiting my arrival. What's up with this one? They're not legendary. Sigarda, Witch Queen of Winter. They're also a shapeshifter. Is this like an aspect of Sigarda? Maybe. Like, there's not only one Sigarda, Witch Queen of Winter, because this is like an aspect of Sigarda. It's like a fraction of their power that's been split across multiple creatures. Not that the card says that, so I don't know. That's just me grasping at straws, I guess. I'm going to put you over here because you're cool. Wolf Rider. 2-mana Wolf Spirit. 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, it fights up to one target creature you don't control. Very cool. Not a kill spell, but like fills the same role in your deck construction, probably. Rhymefield Slashers. Defender 04. Okay, another 04 Defender. We have a few of those for 2. I should point out. Or I'm not. The one's on 05 for 2, I think. Whatever. Rhymefield Slashers can block an additional. Oh yeah, this one. I like this one. I like Defenders. I'll just put you over here with this plant wall, which is, yeah, this is the 05 Defender. Yeah. Viscerid Dragoon is a Naga Scout. Ooh. Enter the battlefield, gets +1/+1 until end of turn. It has to attack each combat if able. And when it leaves the battlefield, put target card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, attached to a creature. Right, yeah, this can, like, attach enchantments and equipments and stuff. It's pretty cool. I mean, I assume that's how that works. I'm going to put it over here just because, I don't know, it has synergy potential. Flames of the Inferno, that's my artifact pile, so it's got enchantments and equipment and stuff in that. I mean, I assume that would equip, right? Like, being equipped is just being attached, I think. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe it's a type of being attached and it wouldn't, by default, count as equipped. I'd be surprised if that was true, but I don't know. It's Magic. The rules are wibbly. I mean, they're very firm, but they're confusing. Flames of the Inferno. 2 mana, deals 4 damage to target creature. If it dies, exile it. This is like just a real card. Nothing special here. Maybe not this cheap, but oh well. It's fine. Reckless Brute. 3 mana, enchantment. 3 mana, deals 2 damage to any target. When a creature you control dies, create a 3/3. This is strong. What? Put you over here with these things that care about stuff. I don't know why this is not in an actual pile. I should probably have it in a real pile. Aura! Something has flying, and you can regenerate the enchanted creature. Cool. I don't know if I have a pile for this sort of thing. What are you? Oh, this is like big stuff that's scary. And like, can return things. From the graveyard. Alright, found it. 3 mana, enchantment. It's black-red. Doesn't do anything if you don't have the black. Next 1 damage will be dealt to target creature. This turn is dealt to any player instead. Target player instead. Right, so saves a thing and also pings face. It's cool. Nice. I like it. Probably too expensive to get online, but it's interesting. It's just kind of protects your stuff. I don't know what to do with that. Seagate Sentinels. Is that a real card, or is Seagate Sentinel a real card? 3 mana, Illusion. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery, create a 1/1 blue fractal with flying. Ooh, okay. Yeah, so is this the thing that cared about when you... Where's the one that, like... Something had payoff for... Ah, yes, this Gorgon. This is what I'm thinking of. Hooks of Rigobi is a fish! It's great! It's a fish! It's definitely too expensive, but it's a fish, so... Overkill. Destroy an artifact during enchantment, then you gain 3 life. Okay, so that is both a kill spell and a life gain enabler. Cool. Metetia, Slayer of Tushkin. Legendary Elf Druid. Creature control power 4. Creator dies. Create 2/2. Okay, so it's another thing that cares about when things die, but it's only big things. So it's just kind of like a worse version of like other things we've seen, but cool. Kiln Mouth General. 3 mana, 3/2. It has Heroic. Cast a spell that targets it. Gain control of target artifact and put a woman counter on it. That is a scary effect. I don't... Yeah, I'm still not sure. Right, it goes well with enchantments, because those are spells that target. Yeah, cool. Oh, it's also legendary. Well, how'd I miss that? I guess its name sounds so generic. That's a shame. He always thought the Kilnmouth was trying to kill him, but then he looked up. I don't know what that implies. I like it, though. I still like that. Calculate Sojourners. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you draw a card. Okay, non-creature spell. Doesn't have to be instant sorceries, but it would go with this, like, thing. Although it doesn't look like there's enough of the color for it to work. Ooh, here's another god. Okay. Keldon the Eternal King. That name is so familiar. Probably because I've seen all these cards before. Enters the battlefield, return non-land permanent you control to its owner's hand. Okay. But then from there on, whenever a player casts a creature spell, you put a 1/1 counter on it. Yeah. I like this one a lot. Like, you have to bounce something else, which is, like, I guess considered sort of like an extra cost. But it's not, it's like a softer cost than sacrifice. And then it's actually pretty strong. And you can play the, yeah, I mean, I'm saying the stuff I said before. That's, I mean, that's, we're revisiting the set. But that's gonna happen. I like it. Demigod of Winter is a legendary enchantment creature giant. I wonder if it's a giant god. That would be so funny. And it cares about other gods, which I don't think there's very many gods. We've seen how many gods. This is a god. This is a Gorgon. This is a god. Yeah, we've seen, like... What are you doing over here? Oh, because errata, yeah. So we've seen, like, 2 gods. Oh well. Feast of Ice. +3/+3, gains trample until end of turn, untap it. Cool. Don't we have like an untap matters over here somewhere? Enchantment, sack a creature to put a 1/1 counter on Moonlit Butcher. Ooh. And then, right, and then you can regenerate this to protect those, the value you've consolidated. That's a good design. I like that design. Sometimes I wonder how, like, close some of these cards are to real cards I've just never heard of. And I'm, like, talking about, like, oh, wow, yeah, I came up with a really cool card. And then just, it's like, oh, it's just a real card. Just, like, actual, real, like, people came up with. AI's stuff is weird. Because it's very cool to, like, sort of put things in a light you haven't seen them before and riff on it. And I think it's really useful for inspiration. I think you need to make sure you don't forget that what you're actually doing is being inspired by real designers that you're more like using the AI as a way of like sifting through real designers' ideas and then like looking at it, right? Like it's like the idea of I made this AI art drawing using AI, it's mine, doesn't really work. It's actually an amalgamation of a bunch of real talented artists' work. But using it as sort of a jumping off point of like, I've used this AI to scour the internet for art, which I can then use as inspiration for something completely separate, I think does have value. I don't know. I don't know. It's a whole thing. You just got to remember. Yeah. Real people behind all this stuff. It's really just a way of parsing data, not really making something new. Does that make sense? I don't know. It's weird. This gets +1/+1 as long as you control another red creature. Cool. It's just a big creature. It does say another red. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I don't know where to put this card. Someone cares about another red creature too, so let's put it there. Why not? Conjurer's Binding. 2 mana. Enchantment Aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1. 3 mana. Deal 1 damage to any target. Right. Yeah, okay. I don't know why I got hung up on this. I've seen this card very recently. The green stuff just came out today as of this recording. So, yeah. Hammer of Wrath. 3 mana, enchantment. +2/+2, has first strike. Next time it attacks, defending player loses 2 life. What is the ruling on this? Wait a minute. I don't remember this one. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2, has first strike, and the next time it attacks, defending player loses 2 life. Like, I feel like this is like at the time of enchanting. That's probably what I said at the time. I'm gonna put this into like kind of needs rules clarification. It probably should just be rerolled, but it's a really cool idea. Skirt college students. Ah, yes, this god. I remember this god. A 3 mana 4/4 menace. Whenever a creature you control with toughness greater than Skirk College student's toughness dies, draw a card. I don't know flavor-wise what this means at all. Like, there's so many options about this, but all of them imply the existence of Skirk College. And that... it just sounds so silly to me. In what's otherwise a very, like, serious kind of, like, almost, like, horror-adjacent set. Anyway... creature you control with toughness greater than this dies, you draw a card, so it's card draw and also like things dying. It's probably going to be mostly useful in that one legendaries. What was that? Where's the one? This one. Not the same colors, but there is crossover, right? Like you could do a 3-color green, white, red with this. Power 4 or greater dies. This would need it to be power 5, which is a lot. Is it power or toughness? Toughness greater than this is toughness. Okay. That's a shame. If it was power, it would actually go well with that one card. There's like that enchantment. I don't remember where it is. But it's the one that lowers... oh, I think I put it in the removal stack. Yeah, -3, -0. That would have been fun. But it's toughness, not power. That would be a fun combo. And now it's much lower. Anyway, it's draw a card. I'm not exactly sure where I want to put you. I'm going to put you over here for now. Oh wait, no, you get to go in the gods pile. Not a legendary, but you are a god. Relevant to the set. Scar of the Erstwhile. 3 mana, 2/2. Sacrifice this. Return a non-land permanent from your graveyard to the battlefield. Just straight up return something. Where's all my, like... return stuff. Black, yeah. This is from your hand and the also all the cheat out stuff. Put that over there. Fist of Urza. Cost 1 less for each card in your hand. Okay, and then it creates a 2/2 with haste. But it costs 4, but 2 of that 4 is colored. And it's not really hard to have 2 cards in your hand, so it's not even really relevant in the, like, cards in hands matter deck. It's really just a 2-mana 2/2 with haste. Which is fine, but weird. I don't know where to put that. That's just kind of a card. Necropotence. That's a real card, right? 4 mana, 3/2. Enters the battlefield. Destroy target creature enchantment. Cool. Very strong. Cologan's Renegade. 3 mana, 2/2. ETB. Create 2 2/2s. When a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create another 2/2. This card's busted. What the heck? I mean, everyone gets some busted cards, but still. Isn't an elf, unfortunately. Go well. I guess wolves are not bears, so fair enough. But anything that cares about, like, tokens might care about this, because it's a lot of tokens. So probably, like, the sacrifice deck is actually what you'd want to put that in. Rune Protection, 3 mana, 3 and tap, gain through life. Probably overpriced, but hey, if life game matters. And this one's cool because it's, like, colorless. I'll actually put you over here in my artifacts matter section. Devoted Wanderer for 5 mana, 2/2, flash. Enters the battlefield, you may exile a non-land card from your graveyard. Then draw a card. 5 mana, 2/2, draw a card, and flash. I have no idea if that's good enough. Staff of Valor, 1 mana. Equip creature gets +1/+0, first strike, equips for 1. Great. Baleful Patron, 4 mana, 4/4. Whenever a creature your opponent controls becomes tapped, you may pay 3. If you do, you gain 2 life. Okay. This is also a god. The gods are a little enigmatic, I think, in this setting. Actually, is there something there? So you've got, like, Keldon the Eternal King. This is, like, some King of the Gods legendary enchantment creature. But then you've got, like, not... Do we have any other legendary gods? Or are they all kind of, like, this is not legendary. This is a zombie god. This maybe represents any god that has been resurrected. I don't know. You've got Baleful Patron. Maybe, you know, a god that is a patron, like sort of exists. What does it say here? You might know the priest's canticle, the verse that beckons a crusader's blade, or perhaps you've heard of the lay, the anthem that accompanies the witch's dark brew. Like, I feel like Baleful Patron represents this god that is not, like, of the godly status we expect. They are... It's almost implies this idea that there were a lot of gods at one point, and they've all been driven out of, like, the divine realm, and maybe they kind of wandered the earth, and so any number of Baleful Patrons you could run into, and they're all different gods, or something. Likewise, you've got your Alhazard of Righteousness, which are a different kind of god that no longer is a god. They're an enchantment creature, whereas this is like a regular creature. Do we have any other? Then you've got the college students and their gods, I guess. Yeah, I think maybe that's the theme of the set, is that, like, other than Keldon lives in a kingdom without hope or memory of a time before his reign. What was the one about Ikos? There was one that cared about Icos. It talked about being sort of like driven out of... There's nothing for them anymore. What was that? What was that? Come on, this feels like it was relevant. Was it not one of these cards? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was some other card. So it's... Oh, no, this is the one. Yes. As the blind god was driven from Icos, the only place left was his throne room, his arena, and his reflection. Keldon lives in a kingdom without hope or a memory of a time before his reign. There's something here that I have not fully put together, but there's something there, and it's... There's something there. Howling Wolf, 5 mana, 3/3. ETB, everyone is excited. I like this card, it's cool. I don't know where to put it. Cold Dark Zombies, Enchantment Creature Zombie. So there are zombies, not just zombie gods. Cool. Each opponent discards a card. Okay, another discard effect. Each opponent loses a life. Okay, put that over in. There's less discard synergy than I remember. I'm wondering if I just haven't gotten to it yet. I should say there's no order to this. These are in the order of the card IDs alphabetized, just because that kind of happened to be the thing. Didn't you shuffle it? Oh, I might have shuffled the deck. Never mind. It might just be completely random. I don't remember. Fires of Invention. 2 mana. Counter target spell. This is like the only counter spell in this set. I'm going to make a pile of counter spells, I think, and see how many there are. Cool. And it just for damage to any target. Sweet. It's a rad card. That's a stupidly strong card. Accumulate. But again, they don't need to be balanced in the context of Magic. They have to be balanced in the context of the set. X green green. Draw X cards, then discard 2. I like this card. I think it's fun. Battleground Siege. 3 mana. Creatures you control get +1/+1. You can also attach it to a creature you control. I don't know why you would, but you can do that if you like. Tendrils of Corruption. Deals 2 damage to any target. This sucks. I remember I specifically was keeping these because of a burn, because I wanted to like have burn spells in red and none were being really made. But I mean, we'll get to that. But you know, if you've seen the red one, you know what I'm talking about, and you know that I misread that card. So this is largely not useful. Leading Moonclan Guide. Enters the battlefield, you draw a card. Whenever you cast a goblin, gets +2/+2 entire turn. I would like to see how many goblins we have. I don't think I've seen a goblin so far. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I don't remember that. Yeah, that makes sense. I'll just put you here because you're also associated with the draw cards. Okay. Decree of Frost, sorcery. Creatures get +2/+2. You may put a creature from your hand onto the battlefield. Okay. Put that over here with the other cheat out spells. Vindictive Bear is a Rhino Soldier. It is a 4 mana 6/4 with trample. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may sack this and a creature. Okay. Yeah, and another creature, sure. I don't think it needs to say that. If you do, each opponent sacrifices a creature. That's quite a big cost, but it could be very useful in the right situation. You're like, dang, I get the 6/4, but I can't get through. I'm going to force you to sacrifice something, and you only have the one big thing. Yeah, cool. Otherwise, I don't actually know what to do with this. What was that other big card? What was that big one? Oh, it's not over here anymore because I put it over here somewhere. Yeah. Hojek Battlemaster. It's a dwarf. It can't block. It's a 3/1, 2 mana. Cool. Just a body. Like the pile of just kind of like, yeah, those are just things you might play in limited. Blaze Sprites. 6 mana, 5/5 with Blaze. It deals damage in the form of -1/-1 counters, so presumably it works like Wither. If a creature dealt damage this turn would die, exile it instead. Cool. I don't really have a lot to say about that. It's just a nice card. Provocata Ojutai Harvester is a legendary nymph. Cool. 2 mana, 1/1, flying. Spend 3, search library for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Repeatable ramp. And starts at 2 mana. Yeah, it's weird that this is not a green card. I mean, not weird, because it was made by an AI, but how do I... I'm actually kind of curious about this now. Oh, Bonsai in the chat is saying that there was a thing about shamans too. That's a good point. Not about this card. About something that I forgot, clearly. Something I just skimmed right by. I don't know what card we were talking about. Sorry about that. Hey, it's the other dinosaur. Nice. Oh, right, domain. I was going to make a domain pile. Anyway. No idea what I was saying. Oh, Goblin Shaman, the Leading Moon Clan, of course. Moon Clan Guide, that is. Yes, so this both has a Shaman thing and a Goblin thing. Very cool. This card, I like this card a lot, and I'm curious about sort of its identity with the whole, like, does green get to be its cool rampy self? And I think kind of no. There's not a ton of ramp in green right now. And there's a little bit, don't get me wrong. In the set, I should say, not in Magic. How would I redesign this card? I know this is kind of getting off topic, but I'm just kind of curious to think about it. Because I like that it comes in early enough that you could actually do stuff with it. I feel like I would want to take it and say, like, search library for basic land, like, if a return to land from the graveyard is in theory interesting, except for there are all those, like, cards that sacrifice themselves to get lands from your deck, and then that's just a repeatable thing, and that's... I mean, then it might as well have just done that in the first place. I think what I'd like to see this card do would be something like mill 3 cards. You may put one of those lands into the battlefield tapped. Well, so isn't that's actually, there's that new green card that does almost the same thing. I don't know, I think it would feel more black, and I think that would be cool. Anyway, nymphs never eat cake alone. That's the important part. Okay, Frostbrand. 1 mana, instant. Additional cost to cast a spell. Sack a creature. Destroy target non-black creature. Cool. So 1 mana, Doomblade, but you have to sacrifice something. I like it. Is it Doomblade? I don't know, I think that's right. Ooh, another artifact. Ah, and it's a tap-down artifact. Cool. So it's kind of like a form of removal in a weird way. We talked about this before. How it's kind of like an enchantment, tap something down, but you have to pay upkeep on it or something. But then you can also, like, move it around. Shissian Enslavement. 3 mana, sorcery, destroy a non-artifact creature. But also, you gain 3 life. Pretty cool. Stony Strength. This is cool. AR just gets, like, it gets me inspired. It makes me want to, like, riff off of it. I should do more of that. It's fun. Target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. Draw a card. Cool. Not really a card draw spell, but whatever. You want cantrips in a deck that cares about that, probably. Ironclad Alpha, Human Warrior, first strike, gets +2/+0 as long as you control another red. Okay, so black-red matters. Interesting. Brutal Hordes. Have we seen a good through line of color combos? There's a little bit of green-white, there's a little bit of blue-red, there's a little bit of black-red. I feel like there isn't a, like, these are the color pairs of the set, but I think a lot of color pairs are supported. Like, I think red-white is pretty good. Well, I guess this isn't really about if they're strong, it's about ones that are sort of encouraged. Right. I mean, anything that's actually on a card, right? Like, this has got black and white, so there it is. But other things like this are much more interesting, I think. Another red. Yeah. Anyway. Brutal Hordes. Creature you control attacks. You may have it fight. This card's so cool. I love this card. This card's cool. Turns all your creatures. All your creatures get to, like, attack as if it's Hearthstone. And then they still get to attack. If they survive. Alexa the Dragon Speaker. 4 mana, 2/4, Spirit, Legendary. If you control a dragon, draw a card. Are there any dragons in this set? I don't remember any dragons. This might just be an overpriced flyer, which is kind of funny to me. Are there any dragons in this set? The idea of having a set with no dragons, but like multiple dinosaurs is really interesting. Were there dragons in Ixalan? Huh. Oh, hello. I think, were you broken? Yes. Yes, you are terrifying. 7 mana to get in play in the first place. And they're an enchantment, not a creature. And then they just counter things. How actually, like, am I okay with this card or not? Let's look at our cheat out effects. Put a creature card from your hand, that's fine. Put a creature card from your hand, okay. Return a non-land permanent from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, this thing could cheat out the Celestial Kabbalist. If it got into your graveyard. That's a big deal. Sack a black or a red creature. Search your library for a creature card, mana value equal to that creature's power. Return a non-land permanent you control to its owner's hand. Return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. So creature again. This has nothing to do with that effect. That's just a card. That would be, yeah. So the scariest thing here so far is the Scar of Erstwhile. His knowledge of past battles is his shield. A worthy traveler makes an acceptable host. Host? Are these cards related? Scar of the Erstwhile is a 3 mana 2/2 enchantment creature. Then they can be sacrificed. And this is just the enchantment. Yeah, I think maybe. Whew. That's scary. This card's dumb. I mean, if you couldn't cheat it out, but the idea that you could... I'm gonna put you over here. Actually, I'm gonna put it over here. Because that's what you would do with it, right? You would cheat that out. Cold Connection, 4 mana, instant, choose one. Target player reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card, exile that card, then that player discards a card. That's great. I'll put you over here in the discard matters. There hasn't been a ton of it, but still more cards left. Gareth, Heart of the Labyrinth, 2 mana, legendary human. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may gain life. Life gain matter. Okay, cool. Life gain matters, but also it's legendary, so it gets to go over here. But life gain matter is definitely a thing. I'm curious if it's a thing in every color or not. Because I think every color has life gain. I don't know if every color has life gain payoff. 3 mana, it's an enchantment. Gives it trample. Yeah, okay. Shrouded Rites, 5 mana, enchantment, +2/+2, has Shroud. When the enchanted creature dies, this goes back to your hand. Cool. Oop, I've picked something up. There it goes. Weird. Grisly Blessing, 3 mana, 2/4. There is another god, and its name is Grisly Blessing. The long night began when he arrived, first star in the sky. Whenever an opponent discards a card, you may pay 1. If you do, you gain a life and draw a card. Interesting. This is like all 3 of the piles we've been making are drawing cards, gaining life, and discard. There's not a ton of discard, unfortunately. So, I don't know how often this would come up, but... Keldon the Eternal King, red and green. Alhazard of Righteousness, white zombie god, not legendary. Demigod of Winter, not a god. Baleful Patron, non-legendary god. Grisly Blessing. I do love the idea of gods that just have like weird evocative phrases as their names. I think that was a thing in Paradise Killer, indie sort of weird platformy visual novel-y murder mystery game. Very cool. The long night began when he arrived for Star in the Sky. This makes me think of like the situation is already going on and then Grisly Blessing appears or something. Actually, the flavor text sounds a lot like Paradise Killer. Because you just like show up to like solve this mystery. There's all these like god stuff going on with names like this, and it's, I guess, presumably all happens in one day, even though there's like a simulated anyway, not important. Go play Paradise Killer, it's good, or watch my playthrough, it's on my YouTube. Anyway, I don't know how this fits into the story. I don't know what the story is. I would love to figure that out, but I don't think I have the time to write a story, like reverse engineer a story from how many cards is this? 240, something like that. Dictate of Dusk, sorcery, exile target enchantment. You gain 2 life. Okay, cool. It's life gain. It's also kill spell. I'm gonna put in the kill spells because it's kind of a big deal. Winds of War, 2 mana enchantment. Enchant creature, +2/+2 as long as it's black. Whenever a enchant creature attacks, you gain 2 life. Okay. Okay, interesting. So green-black does have inherent payoff there. Or a synergy, at least. Interaction. Ashmouth Stronghold. Target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. That's very strong. 3 mana. Return this to its owner's hand. So it just like protects itself. And you can just... That's just really scary. Why there are so many cards that I'm just like, that's too powerful. Why is this in the set? And mainly it's to counter all the other too powerful stuff in the set. Ooh, another Phyrexian. Okay. Also, there is zombie. Grave Harvester. There's always one among them that feels strangely alive. That is a terrifying flavor text. That's such a good flavor text. Holy crap. Other zombies get +1/+1, and they have haste. When this attacks, you may exile a card from your graveyard. If you do, it deals damage equal to the exiled card's mana value to any... This card's sweet. I want to see this as like a legendary. This is a really fun... Like, this would be a really fun commander. That's cool. So I have my other Phyrexian over here. In Malakir, only power is sacred, only fear is merciful. Babavasa. Conspiracy theorist. This is a discard, self-discard. Outlet, potentially. Buffs everything. Grave Harvester. Our other zombie we've seen, of course, is Alizard. Sacrifice this to destroy an enchantment. Not a very interesting card, honestly, but flavor might be kind of interesting. Zombies in the ice are such a cool, like, sort of lesser explored theme that you can do in something. Arctic wasteland, and then there's frozen zombie that are still walking around. And there's always one among them that feels strangely alive. Galakron, the Betrayer, a legendary Hydra. That's just cool. This is like one of those cards that's just like, wait, can we know more about that crazy monster in the set? And it's just like, no, there's just a crazy monster on the plane. That's it. Galakron, the Betrayer. One should not raise one's sword to face the victor. Galakron's Trial Riddle. There's a riddle called Galakron's Trial, and it goes, one should not raise one's sword to face the victor. I don't... Anyway, it's a 3-mana 3/3 with first strike. Whenever it attacks, it gives +1/+1 to your other creatures. So, it's generally just worse than a normal Lord effect, like +1/+1 to all your creatures. Unless you like got extra attack phase steps, I guess. That would be really interesting. But probably not relevant. Legendary. You're a legendary creature. Hydra. Yeah, it's just like a cool monster for the green-blue, which I don't think is really a supported matchup, or like whatever you want to call it, pairing. Like, we're seeing green-black, we're seeing black-red, we're seeing red-blue, we're seeing green-white. If everything was in 2 color pairs, where would that leave us? The implication is that red-white wouldn't be a thing, and red-white is a thing. Well, is red-white a thing, or does red-white just have a card that supports it, like this green-blue one? Interesting point. Interesting point. Faithful Chaplain. 4-mana human cleric. Okay, wait, is this Faithful Chaplain have something to do with our Phyrexian cleric? This one is actually faithful. Not affected by Phyrexia. She won't flinch. She won't falter. She will never fail you. She seems nice. Taps down creatures. Cool. Mistform Passage, 2 mana, enchantment that adds... Yeah, okay, cool. A little ramp in black. There's like a lot of ramp in black, I'm realizing, in this set. Because of the other black card we saw. Provocata. Yeah. Urborg Swineherd, Naga Warrior. Swineherd's such a good word. Whenever Urborg Swineherd or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, a creature gets +2/+1 until end of turn. Cool. That's a sort of a Constellation Matters style card. Not Constellation as defined by this set, but Constellation, the actual mechanic. It's called Constellation, right? I don't know. Theros. The set this is based off of. I don't know it that well. That's cool. I like that. I don't have like a enchantment matters thing because there's so many enchantments that I'm not sure how to keep track of that. Terrain Tutor. Legendary Ooze. Another green-blue. I wonder if there is like a green-blue deck in this set, and it's just like weird monsters of the frozen wasteland. When this enters the battlefield, you draw a card. It taps to add a mana of any color. Nothing especially interesting about that, but just like... its influence grows stronger with each snowfall. Like, yeah, I feel like you've got your, like, gods in one camp, and then you've got, like, your, not necessarily human, like, mortals in another. Then you've got, like, your spirits of the wild, like your spirits and your nymphs and stuff. And then you've just got, like, weird monsters, which is this green-blue thing we're seeing. A Hydra and an ooze. Big snow ooze. Interesting. Hermod, God of the Frost Mountains. This cost is actually 3, right? I believe so. I could double check that if I wanted to, but it would be... I'm pretty sure. That's the sort of thing I would have checked when making the card. So, as much as that's cut off, and that is annoying, we're accepting such things for this set because space is limited. Anyway, it's a 3-mana 2/3 with flying, and it can regenerate enchantments. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool effect. Greetings, my followers. I look upon the ice, and I find its many shapes pleasing. How does this interact with our other gods? We have our blue god and our white god. I really should have the gods pulled out. A red and a green god. Then we've got a white non-legendary god. And some kind of weird, where is it? Red-white god. That's non-legendary again. And then, of course, a pure, another white non-legendary god. A lot of white gods, actually. I feel like we got a lot of gods at the beginning of the set, and then they kind of petered out. Although, this is, like, multicolor was the second last thing we made, so these two came out at the end, so maybe not. But, like, 3 gods right at the beginning? Interesting. Maybe there is, like, a use case for demigod of winter. The idea of demigod, like, buffing other gods is interesting. Like, this is not a god. It is a giant. The idea of a giant being, like, considered a demigod. Like people are like, whoa, that giant's a demigod. Look how big they are. That's an interesting idea. But they actually do support real gods. Thawing Winds. 4 mana, enchant creature, gets +2 strength flying. Bunch of enchantment auras. I should rally them all together and see, like, oh, hello, Audric. And see just, like, where the power level is, because there are some that are very weak and some that are very strong, and some that do, like, almost the same effect. It's interesting. Audric the Golgari Lich Lord. A 4 mana Planeswalker. Counters on a target creature you control. Put 2 -1/-1 counters on target creature you control. If that creature dies this turn, not necessarily to this effect, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So you could put that on something and then sacrifice that thing, assuming it, like, survives or something, right? Like, what's that weird one? It's, like, over here somewhere. Vindictive Bear, right? So you could be like, I'm going to put -2/-2 on Vindictive Bear. It goes down to a 4/2. And then at the beginning of combat, we sacrifice it. And then that would trigger making a 2/2 zombie creature token. So you're like, well, I was going to do that anyway. Cool, I get the effect. That's kind of interesting. Probably not like good, but it's interesting. I assume you'd get the entire, like, you may sacrifice Vindictive Bear and a creature. than if you do sacrifice. So, like, you wouldn't be able to say, I sacrifice Vindictive Bear, I generate a 2/2, and then I sacrifice the other creature, which is that 2/2. That wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. Cool. Planeswalker. How many Planeswalkers do we end up with? Like 3, maybe? Triskelion Hauler. 3 mana, 2/2, Orc, Warrior. When this or another creature dies, you gain 3 life, so both a things dying and life gain situation. Undergrowth Enchantment. Enters the battlefield, tap target. Sorry. Enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its control zone. Yeah. So it's that sort of lockdown effect that we see in blue a lot, but in green. Okay. Snow-covered mountain, 2 mana enchantment. Beginning of your upkeep, mill a card. If you can't, you draw a card. So this is like one of those, I want to see what somebody does with this card. Blood Rites, 3 mana, enchant a creature. It gets +1/+1 and lifelink. And it's a sack outlet. So once again, we're seeing sort of like sacrifice stuff. Like when things die and life gain being kind of a hand-in-hand situation. It's cool. Arborea. 3 mana. Enchantment. Target land becomes a basic land type of your choice. Ah, yes, I recall this one. When the mountains began to feel the first breath of life, the valleys spoke first. Our roots became deeper, our fires became brighter, and from our depths, our future began to emerge. Rorix. Cool. What does this card actually mean for us? It means, yeah, shutting down our opponents in theory. How well does that work? I don't know. Down to the Last War. I remember that name. What's this do again? Reveal the top 3 cards of your library. All of the creatures revealed this way go into your hand, the rest go into your graveyard. Oh, this is like that other card that we saw that was like a worse version of this. Yeah. Unless you don't want them to go in your graveyard, I guess. I don't know. Vizier's Bubble. Bubble. Player casts a creature spell, you may gain life. Cool. So, once again, yes, this is legendary, but the artifacts I'm going to put down here anyway. Yeah, so I think we got like 2 colorless life game generators. Life game you know what I mean. So anybody could throw that into the life gain deck no matter what color they're using. It's cool. I like the idea of life gain in every color. It's interesting. Giant with flying. When it attacks, you create 2 spirits with flying. Cool. Blizzard Bunting is a bird wizard. Whenever a source of your choice deals damage to you, exile the top card of your deck, library, whatever. You may play that card this turn. Yeah, cool. When the source deals damage to you, you can impulse draw. A birder in flight carries a rare sight and a secret. It's kind of like card draw. Polymorphism. Additional cost to cast a spell. You may sack a creature or a planeswalker. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. Cool. Is that you may sack a creature? You may. Cool. You don't have to. It's just like, as an upside, you're allowed, if that's something you care about. Juniper Diviner, Human Wizard. It enters the battlefield, you scry 1, and then you draw 1. That's cute. Scry, then draw. Like it. Very nice. I'm lagging right now, it seems. Bow of Bagarden. +2/+2. Has Vigilance. Also Trample. Cool. Maribel, Defender of the Grove. I'm going to call that an Elf Druid. I don't know what else it could possibly be at DR at the beginning there. Also, it's called Maribel, Defender of the Grove. It's a 4 mana, it's a 2/3, it's a legendary enchantment creature, elf druid, and it gives all of your creatures +1/+1 and trample. This card's really good. This is a good card there. So we got another legendary elf. That's not our first legendary elf. This one's also a legendary elf. And they kind of go well together, actually. Right? Because this one, it cares when a creature with power 4 or greater dies. This one's giving all of your creatures +1/+1. So they're closer to being satisfying that condition. And then it creates a 2/2, which in this case will be a 3/3. If you have another lord, like if you have any other lord that can give your creatures +1/+1, then these 2/2s will be 4/4s, and then when they die, you make another 2/2, which is a 4/4. The wolf token already has trample, but still, I think they go well together. That's cool. I like that. Phalanx Armament, a 3 mana enchantment aura. You control the enchanted creature. When it dies, its controller loses 2 life, and you can. It's just like a better than any mind control thing. Wild. What is this? I mean, it does a life gain thing, but it's not its main jam. It's just really strong. I need the like pile of just like this card's way too strong. the this card's way too strong pile. 4 mana sorcery, destroy a creature. Its controller loses 2 life. You gain 2 life. Another life gain activator, but it's more of a kill spell. Midnight Apparition. Ooh, okay, another Phyrexian card. Are all our Phyrexian? No, they're not. Okay, I was gonna say are all our, yeah. It'd be interesting if there was a single Phyrexian in each color. But no. This is black and red. We could buy the activated ability. So it's either a 4 mana 2/2 or 4 mana 2/2 with an activated ability if you're in black. Exile target creature. Return it to the battlefield under its controller at the beginning of the next instance. Okay, so it's a slow flicker, which is potentially useful to get through enemies' lines, and it's also potentially useful to get some flicker effects. I do wonder how many strong, like, enter the battlefield effects we're seeing. I did want to pay attention to that, but, I mean, I don't feel that bad for not being able to keep track of these things. Phyrexian, go over here. What's your flavor text? What once held the Strix at bay, it now seeks to punish. Huh. What is the Strix? Something stopped something from happening, and now they want to punish that something. That is not enough information to parse that. Razorclaw Ancient is a Minotaur warrior. Ooh. Whenever Razorclaw Ancient attacks, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. We've seen a couple Minotaurs. There's that one Minotaur up here, which can buff Minotaurs. Which is just like, considering how many like just spend mana, buff your board effects we've seen. Then I don't know. Do we have? I'm curious. If we assume that this is like until end of turn, have we seen other effects that just universally buff your entire board that are as cheap as this? Because this, you know, is cheap but has the drawback of only hitting your Minotaurs. It could be really interesting. Anyway, there's another Minotaur, not there, somewhere. I think it might be at the bottom of this pile. Yeah, it's a flying Minotaur. Something that's under this flying pile. Cool. It's just like, yeah, a nice aggressive body. You could even combine it with this card over here. Black-red, right? You may sacrifice a black or red creature. It is a red creature. If you do, search your library for a creature card, mana value, go to that creature's power. Also, I just realized I've been comparing this card to non-black and red cards, haven't I? Oops. I have not been paying attention, apparently. Oh, it's a black card. Okay, fair enough. Anyway, point is that that would be kind of a cool combo. It's 2 mana, but then when it attacks, it's 4, and then you sacrifice it by playing this in your second main phase for 3, and then you get a 4-cost card. I don't know if that's that strong, but it's interesting. It's a thing. It's a thing you could do. What more can you ask for? Akruma's Vanguard. 4 mana. 3/3. Human Knight. When it attacks, it deals damage to any target. Okay. I don't know why I thought I'd be able to get through this entire thing in one time. I was like, oh yeah. It's not like I have to make them all. First strike protection from black. Enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. Cool. I gotta pick up the face. I'm like very much out of time. Another wolf. Northshire Cliffs Pack. Ah, it's so good. 6 mana, 6/6. Has first strike, has haste. If a creature dealt damage by Northshire Cliffs Pack this turn would die, exiled instead. Very good. The whole this turn thing always throws me off, but I think that is consistent with the verbiage of the rest of Magic. Green Nymph is an enchantment nymph. You can sacrifice itself to gain 2 life. Again, going in our like both things dying and life gain mattering weird potential synergy. Another vampire. I think the only other vampire we saw was that Phyrexian vampire, so that's kind of interesting. It's my skin that feeds me, and I am the predator that I am. 4 mana, 3/2. It has Bloodthirst 1. If an opponent was dealt damage this turn, this creature enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each creature without flying. Oh, it's without flying. That's interesting. So this would care about pingers. I don't know how many pingers we have. A decent number, I think. Oriok Grievesmith. 5 mana, 3/4. Beginning of your upkeep, you gain extra life. X your devotion to white. Okay. Werewolf of Haras Province is a 3 mana, 2/3. Werewolf, not a wolf. When Werewolf of Haras Province gets +1/+1, it does get +1/+1 as long as you control a swamp. Cool, so it wants you to be in green and black. So once again, seeing green and black is a synergy, or is a like color pair of the set. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a loyalty counter on Werewolf of Haras Province and werewolf creatures you control get +1/+1 to end of turn. So every upkeep it gets a loyalty counter. I can't do anything with them, but it has them. Also gives werewolf creatures you control +1/+1 on a turn, which I don't think there are any other werewolves, but that's okay. That still makes this a 3 mana. If you have black, like a swamp, 3/4 that on your turn, or at beginning of your upkeep until the end of turn, is actually a 4/5. 4/5 for 3? Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. I don't know. I need to stop. Yeah. Cast instant sorcery spell, gain a life. So both a life gain thing and a sorceries being cast thing, which is over here. Feldhide Shaman, another shaman. Prevent a next 1 damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn. Potentially useful, but mostly it's a shaman, and that's cool. Frostweaver Geists is a human rogue. It deals 1 damage to target player or planeswalker. So that is the sort of thing that we could see activating this this vampire, which does also encourage us to do more red-black. So I think I'm confident. I'm happy saying like black-red is a combo and green-black has stuff. The others I'm less sort of confident in because yeah. Another Minotaur. Okay, Marsh Warden, 7 mana, 5/5. When this or a non-token creature enters the battlefield, creatures get +1/+0 and lifelink. That could be a pretty good card in this one. Skyshroud Claim, enchantment, enters the battlefield, return a enchantment from your graveyard to the battlefield. If that enchantment card is black, it deals damage equal to the mana value of target creature. Interesting. So this one cares about white-black. And there is, precedent for white-black. Also, I think it's clear. This is an enchantment card. So another way of resurrecting enchantments. Scary. Goes into the battlefield, right? That's correct. Yep. Flanking Renewal. 1 mana. Enchantment. Creature. Enchanted creature has protection from black, from blue, from red, and from green. I think this card's very cute. I like this card a lot. I don't like protection generally, but protect from like everything but white is funny to me. And it was pointed out to me by my girlfriend that if it had protection from white, it would fall off itself. You'd put it on, and then the thing would gain protection from white, and then it would be removed. It would unattach itself because of the protection, which is wild. I did not know that about Magic, and that is weird. Magic is a weird game. Anyway, Stitched Spirit is a 2-mana 2/2. Deals damage to a creature, but also has Morph. Cool. So it could be a 3-mana 2/2, or a 2-mana 2/2. And then you can spend a 4th mana to morph that 3-mana 2/2 into this thing. And then you could tap it to deal damage to a creature. I can't imagine that morph being relevant, but it's kind of interesting. Because you play it as the morph creature, and then after you untap with it, it can now, you can morph it and tap it. I wonder how many morph creatures there are. I think there's only the one, but there might be 2 in the whole set. Probably enough. Oh, another Phyrexian. Phyrexian Malignant. Well, I was going to say probably not enough for it to be like actually a relevant mind game. It's just, do you know this card exists or not? 1 mana 1/1 Phyrexian Zombie. We already saw Phyrexian Zombie, right? That was this one? Yeah, okay. Interesting. Not all Phyrexians are zombies. I do kind of like the idea we've got, like, our Phyrexian Cleric here and a Vampire. Those are kind of undead. And they are... Are the Phyrexians exclusively black and red? That's... Phyrexians are resurrecting things. Yeah. Phyrexian Malignant. Whenever this becomes blocked, it deals damage to each creature blocking it. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Sword of Frost. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each equipment attached to it. Specifically cares about equipment being attached. That's one of the reasons we're making this pile, honestly. Which is interesting. Whereas the other one cares about enchantments you control, not auras attached. So, different. Froststorm, aura, enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target creature. So, the fact that it enchants a creature is mostly irrelevant, but, it means that there's always going to be a target. Unless... Yeah, there's always going to be a target, because you could just target the thing that you're exiling, right? So I know that the, exile up to 1 other target creature means other than Froststorm, as if Froststorm was a creature. But this would actually be a really interesting card if you couldn't target the creature that Froststorm was enchanting. That would actually make this card really interesting. I don't know if it needs that sort of drawback. I don't think that's necessarily relevant, but it's interesting. Warmongering Savagery is a 3-mana instant. Cast the spell only during declare attacker step, only if you've been attacked. So, your opponent declares attackers, you instant speed, do something as the defender, giving a creature +2/+2, and lifelink. Pretty expensive and pretty restricting casting time, but oh well. And there's our other legendary. Blue and black. 5 mana, 5 loyalty, Sorin Renegade Leader. +1. Draw 2 cards. Okay. -3. It deals damage equal to the number of mountains you control to a creature or planeswalker. So it wants to be in 3-color blue, black, and red. Interesting. I can see blue, black, and red making sense. Because, blue and red has, sort of a spell slinger combo going on here. And then black and red have some synergy, and then blue and black have some synergy. Yeah, like a card draw spellslinger deck. I could see that. I could see that working. Yeah. Nephalia's Wrecker. 4 mana, 5/5. There's another god. Creatures you control have vigilance. This can't be blocked by white creatures. That's stupid. I don't know. That's like a dumb. I don't know. It seems, unless there's like a flavor win there, that seems weird. Although maybe there is. It follows every word with more faith than the faithful themselves. Because there's a lot of gods in white, as we saw earlier. That one's not, but... I mean, maybe not a ton, but enough. Yeah, here's one, right? Yeah. Huh. There might be something there, actually. Nephalia's Wrecker. It's like a god that's... Fighting god? There's some infighting among the gods, I think. I think that's happening. I think one god, like, pushed all the other gods out, and some of them are coming back in, and some are not, and I don't know. There's too much. Kothafed Harpy. 6 mana, 5/5 with flying. If you control an island, it also has flying. Cool. Clutha's Glorious Entourage. 3 mana, or 4 mana. Another... I feel like we haven't really seen blue-green combo, but we have seen a decent number of blue-green, just like, cards. Because, of course, the mana costs were defined by Theros Beyond Death's mana costs. It doesn't care what we're actually seeing. I mean, the AI doesn't care either, but it doesn't actually... It's not coming up with them because of seeing things. Yeah. Enchanted creature has trample. Whenever enchanted creature deals combat damage to a player, draw cards. Another card draw thing. Clutha, champion of card. This sort of does break my theme of that the blue-greens are weird monsters. It doesn't go there. It goes here. Urza Exterminator. 2 mana, Phyrexian Giant. Okay, once again, Phyrexia is in black and red exclusively. Ooh, and they're making zombies. Oh, the Phyrexians are making zombies. 2 mana, 3/2. Whenever a source you control deals combat damage to a player, exiled. If you do, create a tapped 1/1 black zombie creature token. Yes, this is the card I was talking about earlier. That I didn't read that it was combat damage. I don't think there's many situations where this is useful. If this said sacrifice, this would be pretty powerful, I think. Because there are things that care about creatures dying. We're seeing a lot of cards that care about creatures dying. You know. Whenever creature control dies. A lot of stuff that cares about that. So if this sacrificed the source that dealt combat damage, and then made another body, you would just be able to just completely churn through your creatures and trigger those when a creature die effects. Since you can't do that, is there a use case for this card? It's still a 2 mana 3/2, but if you attack with it, it will see itself and it will exile itself, so it's not great. But you could block with it and stuff, but possibly. It's kind of interesting. I want to see this Phyrexian Giant create Phyrexia, like zombies, though, because that seems to be... Oh, what is the flavor text? Phyrexians consider them merely self-anointed. Those whose lack of belief in their own fealty has no hope of changing their allegiance. Oh, who's them? The Urza Exterminator? Like, this is a Phyrexian giant, but it's only self-anointed. It has lack of belief. It has no hope of changing its allegiance. I don't know. Don't know what Phyrexians are doing. Diabol. Oh, yeah, we've got a blue Phyrexian, and it all disappears. Diabolic Blessing, a 4-mana 1/3 Phyrexian cleric. For blue, tap target creature doesn't untap during scores. Tap step, very strong. We're seeing there was another sort of untap stuff over somewhere. I don't know. And also that other card we're seeing before about how, like, whenever something gets targeted, put a counter on it. We're seeing these things that you actually would be able to protect yourself against. So, like these sort of tap down effects and stuff like that. Very interesting. 4 mana, 1/3. Just the sight of that filthy impurity has inspired the worship of its power in my people. Tiamat, Throne of the Eternals. The sights of that filthy impurity. Is the filthy impurity Phyrexians, or is there something impure that the Phyrexians have been inspired by, right? Sight of the filthy impurity inspiring Phyrexians? That sounds like a Phyrexian thing. But a blue, is this like a separate faction of Phyrexians on the same plane, maybe? Is that a thing? Can they do that? Stalking Hunger, a vampire berserker. Okay, it's another vampire. That's like our third vampire. Okay, okay. 3 mana, 3/2, haste, 2 mana, tap. Target vampire gains first strike. Yeah. Interesting. You could block with it and then have it tap itself and spend 2 to give itself first strike. So but it's obviously not costed in a way that you'd want to do that. And then I can otherwise only hit other vampires. What other vampires do we have, though? We've got Phyrexian Vampire here, which is 2/2, so not exciting to give first strike to, and then a 3/2. Which could be quite useful. It enters with a +1 counter on it. Yeah. Cool. Hero of the Resistance. I remember you. 2 mana, 1/1 soldiers. You control, get +1/+0. Still sad about that core soldier, but they would get the bonus. Whenever a creature you control dies, you may pay 2 if you do draw a card. So, again, caring about creatures dying. Pretty common. I do not hide. My true face I show to no one. I am willing to die, but I shall not lie. They're just a human. They're just a human. They're not the only legendary human, though. I mean, the name is so evocative, right? Hero of the Resistance, like, it tells us something. There is a resistance, right? There's some kind of resistance. And the fact that they're a human makes me, like, think, like, is there resistance against Phyrexia? Is there resistance against the gods? It's interesting. The fact that they're black-red, I kind of like the idea that, like, this is the resistance against Phyrexia. And it's not so much that since they're black-red, they're aligned with the black-red Phyrexians. It's that they sort of occupy the same spaces, right? They occupy the same lands, if you will. And that's where the resistance needs to be. Chill the Stone, 2 mana. Creatures you control get +1/+1 to end of turn. It's an instant speed thingamajigger. Cool. Again, there's like a whole instant speed thing over here, like instant sorceries, but it's mostly blue and red, I believe. Ghostbreaker Ape. I forgot about you. Yeah, it's a 6 mana 6/6 ape. It's got menace. When it enters the battlefield, it exiles a non-land permanent opponent controls until it leaves. Oh, as goblins and goblins went to war, so did the old gods and old ones. Okay, wait. Is this telling us something? So first of all, we haven't seen very many goblins. I think we've seen like 1 goblin. Maybe they all died. I don't know. But the old gods and the old ones. Are the old ones also gods? Or is there some other thing? Like, are these old ones? Are these things at war with the gods? Interesting. Cool card. I like this card. I'm going to put it in the removal pile. Janame Pack Leader is a 5 mana 5/5 beast. Oh yeah, this one. Bugs, both flying and unflying, don't untap during their controller's untap step. Creatures with flying, including bugs, don't untap during the controller's untap step. Just completely shutting down flyers. Very, very cool. The anti-flying tech is, I think, interesting. And if we look at our flying cards, I think these are our flyers. There's actually not a ton, which both means that they won't get, like, hosed by this tech. If you went all in on flyers, you probably wouldn't be able to, you would still have other things, but they're strong enough that they're probably relevant. Oh, I think that works pretty well. Storm Elemental, 5 mana, 4/4 Elemental. Beginning of your upkeep, create a 3/1 white Elemental. Cool. Tap the next time a source of your choice would deal damage this turn. Prevent that damage. Just really good. Wow, I like that card a lot. Tide's Reach, 3 mana. Search your library for basic land, basic island or a swamp card. Yeah, that tripped me up last time too. I got a lot of comments about that one. Yes, a basic island or a swamp card. Still not sure if it's a basic island or basic swamp. If it is a basic island or basic or non-basic swamp, that makes this card actually pretty interesting. Put into your battlefield, tapped, then shuffle. Cool. Again, we're seeing, like, black is the ramp color. Super interesting. Ravenous Chitterer, 2 mana, 1/1 dwarf with flying. It can sacrifice itself to counter a target spell. Ooh, I said I was going to make a counterspell pile. Did I forget to do that? And of course, this guy's also the counterspell. We've seen a few dwarves, not a ton. There's a couple in the mountains, or sorry, in our frozen setting, but not a ton of them. I'm kind of into that. I like the idea that the dwarves are present. Of course, dwarves are in the like frozen areas. They're these, you know, squirt hairy creatures. They're very actually good at dealing with the weather. I would think that feels like that would be what you'd want to do. You wouldn't want to be tall and gangly, and you'd want to be able to cover yourself with hair. But we don't see a ton of them. Maybe they actually like live beneath the earth, the surface or something. And so you only see the occasional one come out onto the surface. They only are out here when they need to be or something. I don't know. They know how to survive here, so they aren't seen much because that's not the smart thing to do if you know how to survive. I don't know. The closest food source to their hovels can be found by the crow's very own appetite. They're little hovels. Interesting. Tezzeret, the Freeblade, another Planeswalker, a 4 mana, 4 loyalty. Tezzeret, +2, target creature you control fights. -2, create some night creature tokens. Would be probably stronger if they were soldiers, to be honest. Don't be mistaken. Plague Eater, 2 mana, 3/1, elemental, echo. Oh, right. So there's another card that's called Echo Elemental, and this is Plague Eater, which is an elemental with Echo. Wonder if there's any through line between those two. Let's take a look at that when it comes up. Flying, Echo, blue and black, has the same expected text, I believe. Beginning of your upkeep, if this came under your control, sacrifice unless you pay the Echo cost. Cool. Making it a 4 mana, 3/1 flyer, but you get to pay it in installments of 2, which is potentially useful. I think it's cool. You could also potentially just let it die if you wanted to, but that's probably not worth it. Savage Instincts. 5 mana, instant. Target creature you control gets +4/+4 until end of turn, then untap it, then it gets +3/+3 until end of turn. So stupid. Where's our, like, untap matters? That's somewhere. Oh, I don't remember where I put the untap matters things. There wasn't a ton of it, honestly. Use them on a ramp in blue, it turns out. But it's expensive ramp, yeah. Oh, this is the one. Yeah. Target creature gets +3. Trample until end of turn. Tap it. Or untap it. Ooh, don't do that. Okay. So yeah, that would go with those cards. And then Seething Ruin. X, white, instant. It deals X damage to each creature and each player. Boom. Do I have a section for my wraths? I don't think I do. I probably should. No, it seems like a smart thing. Slay the Nightmare. 2 mana, sorcery. You gain life for each creature card in your graveyard. Life gain. Hope's End. Red, enchantment. Enters the battlefield, you create some birds. It's just really cheap. It's just 1 mana for 2/2s with flying. It's very stupid. This card, yeah. It goes in my... That card is really strong pile. I don't have like a card's really strong pile. It would be actually fun to like sort them into what I think their rarity should be. That could be interesting. I kind of don't like rarity. Like, rarity annoys me. Like, I don't know. The idea is like, this card's really, really strong, so it only shows up sometimes. Which means if you are lucky enough to get it, you have a stronger card than everyone else does. And, I guess that's just true anyway, but if it showed up multiple times, then, I don't know. Geyser Spray. 4 mana, instant. Target player reveals their hand. Discards all non-token permanents. Oh, it's target player discards their hand, huh? Cool. This is 4 mana. Target player exiles a card and then discards a card. This is 4 mana. Target player reveals their hand, then discards it. Oh, okay. It only discards permanents. Never mind. It only discards permanents. So they have to keep their, like, instants and sorceries. That's kind of cool. I actually kind of like that. Lure of the Sea. Yeah, I wonder if the, oh, let's quickly look through here. Is this where our black-blue is? Because, like, in theory, I feel like black-blue is yeah, black-blue. Black-blue is a thing, but we haven't seen a ton of stuff that actually cared about it. Oh, this one's red. Okay. Yeah, okay. It's actually in a bunch of colors, it turns out. Also, are any of these payoffs? No, these are all just... There was a payoff in... Was it a legendary? Is that why it's not over here? Where it's like, whenever a creature discards... Not creature, whenever a player discards. Whenever an opponent discards a card, you may pay 1 if you do gain a life and draw a card. So, yeah, you could... Blue. Black-blue. Yeah, I think black-blue is where it is. There's a little bit of red, but a little bit of green. Probably black-blue is where you would do that. Lure of the Sea. 2 mana, enchantment. If you would draw a card, you may skip that draw step instead. Right, there's a bunch of cards in this set. I'm just like, well, this lets you do something weird that you usually don't want to do. Have at it. Like, theory crafting community. Mayexna, god of a natural death. Another god. Black for a legendary enchantment god. Star, its power and toughness are each equal to the number of instants and sorcery cards in all graveyards. Which is cool. This is our, like, instants and sorcery sort of spellslingery thing. Black is not what I expected the payoff for that to be, right? You'd think it to be red and blue, but maybe it's like a red, blue, black, because this one's got black there, right? This here has nothing to do with spellslinger. I don't know why this is over here. Okay, cool. Although, honestly, I feel like a lot of the sort of, like, you have these, like, interesting themes, and then there's, like, a legendary card that's a payoff for that theme in a different color. So it's like, these two colors go together, but if you want the payoff, you have to go into a third. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, it's another god. When zombies arrived, a plague fell upon Urborg. Okay, that means two things to me. One, zombies. We've seen that. Phyrexians are making zombies. Two, there's another card that mentioned Urborg. I don't remember which one it was. I'm not going to find it either. Not right now, at least. I don't have that kind of time. Interesting, though. It's probably not even legendary. But yeah, that's interesting. A plague fell upon Urborg. Obviously, Urborg is, like, from actual magic, but, you know. Our version of it is the important part. Cryptic Command. It is a 2-mana green instant. Target creature gets +1/+1. Gains trample. Also gets untapped. Okay. We're back in our untapped matters. I'll have to like look at that a bit more. Father of Mountains. Right, this is a Nephilim, not a nymph. I look at N and P and H and I think nymph, but it's a Nephilim. A 5-mana, 3/3 legendary enchantment creature Nephilim. As long as you control a red or green permanent, such as this one, creatures you control get +2/+2. 5-mana, 3/3 creatures you control get +2/+2. Very scary, especially if you combine it with something like this. But hey, that would require 3 colors. I'm interested in these like very powerful combos in 3 colors, but not a lot of support for going into more than 2 colors. Like otherwise, so it's like if you really want this like weird combo, you gotta work for it. Gotta take that risk. That sounds fun. Arctic Observer is a 1-mana 1/1, enters the battlefield, descries. That's about it. But it is an elf if you want to do that elf matters. I wonder if we have enough cards for the elf matters deck, honestly. Probably not. There's only a few over here. There are more elves, but I don't know. I wonder if there's a bunch of elves over in the Life Game Matters one and I just kind of forgot. You know, I had to put them in one thing or another thing, so I ended up putting them over there. There's some legendary elves, too. Hornbeam Cromwell, a 6-mana, 6/5 enchantment creature treefolk. It becomes tapped, you gain 4 life. Very cool. Very cool. Again, not a lot of life gain payoff. A lot of life gain activation. Return all non-land permanents to their owner's hands. Didn't wipe away tears. Yes. Okay. Isn't there a blue card that does the same thing? Yeah, okay. So Angelic Feast, 6-mana, blue sorcery, return all other non-land permanents to their owner's hand. Wipe away tears, 6-mana, green sorcery, return all non-land permanents to them. So yeah, these are the same in different colors. But one costs blue, and the other one costs only green. Huh. The dragon smiles upon their sacrifices, for their needs are met. Nothing can be hidden in the maelstrom, not even love, Miri of 3 Horizons. I'm gonna actually put this... Did I have a board wipe section? I remember thinking I should have made one, and then I didn't, and this is one of the ones that would have gone into that section if I had made it, so... Oh well. Put these two over here together. So the fact that there's that card that cared about dragons, but we haven't seen any dragons, and now this card... Not that one. Where's the one I'm thinking of? We were just looking at it. Angelic Feast. This card says return all non-land... Not that part. That has the flavor text about the dragon smiles upon their sacrifices for their needs are met. I think the next set might be about dragons. Like, they're around here somewhere, but they're not active. Maybe like Slumbering Dragons or something. Champion of Seasons. 3 mana, 2/3 Minotaur, another Minotaur. Trample, 2 mana, regenerate. Cool. I like that. I think it's nice. Urborg Volcano, another Urborg thing. The final victims of their unrelenting onslaught are dragged to the volcano and buried. 1 mana, 1/1 with trample and haste, so if you could buff it, pretty scary. Maybe you have some kind of card that, like, gives something. Like, okay, I don't remember, but there was a card at one point that did a bunch of stuff that was very, gave something +7. 2 mana, Urborg Volcano gets +2/+1. Okay, or it could just do it itself. That's a very scary card. I like that. I like how scary that card is. It's an elemental warrior. That's kind of cool. You don't usually see elementals that are considered to have something like that. They just kind of are, usually. Blazing Haze, 3 mana enchantment. Generic and white. Target creature gains haste until end of turn. It can attack and tap this turn. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Cool. It is lagging. When you do this, Tabletop Simulator starts lagging, turns out. Lull Mage Guild Mage is an enchantment creature nymph. I wonder about this guild. I feel like there's been like guild mages mentioned previously. Am I remembering that right? Is there like a guild? 3 mana, 1/2, flash, draw a card. When rats, with capital R, run out of spores, they still run. Their little legs flailing for all they're worth. I do not know what this card is trying to tell me. Herald of Icefire, a 4 mana, 4/3 Orc Shaman, another Shaman. Okay. The beginning of each upkeep, if you gain 8 or more life this turn. This is a life gain payoff, but only if you gain 8 or more. And all it does is ping the opponents for 2 damage. This card's so stupid. Giant Bee! A 3 mana, 2/2 insect flying. When it dies, put it on top of its owner's library. It's probably bad. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. Chalice of the Unseen. 2 mana, enchant creature, +1/+1 for each basic land type. Ah, that's the, like, yes. Number of colors of mana. I thought there was more stuff that cared about domain. Turns out there's 2 cards. Or I missed some. Coilfang Geist is a 4 mana, 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, tap all creatures your opponents control. Those creatures don't untap during their controller's untap steps for as long as Coilfang Geist remains on the battlefield. I love this card. This card's so cool. It's not the next untap step. What a scary card. I forgot about the Phyrexian cat. Dark Animus. 3 mana, 2/2 Phyrexian cat with flying. Can add mana of any color and give itself +1/+1. To free the beasts is to unchain the will of nature. To enslave it is to chain its soul. What does this mean? The Phyrexians are unchaining the will of nature and enslaving it and chaining its soul. I don't know. I'm not sure what's up with that, but that's super interesting. And that's our last card. Ooh. Interesting. So, I really like this sort of a chance to just sort of look at the whole set, not get bogged down with cards that got re-rolled and my brain still associates as being real. Like, these are just actually what the cards look like. And seeing everything together, you know, not trying to remember what happened in white and actually having it all available. Do I know all the interesting connections? No. It's a lot. It's a lot to analyze, but in broad themes, it's very, very interesting. I do want to take a look at a couple things like life gain. Like, what are the life gain payoffs? There's, if you gain 8 or more, it's a very minor payoff. But most of this stack is just life gain. Gain life. Cast this spell, declaring attack spells. Gain life link. That's a type of gaining life. Gain life link. Upkeep, gain life, where devotion is your devotion to white. First strike protection. When it enters the battlefield, gain life. Enchanted creature attacks, you gain 2 life. Destroy target non-artifact creature, gain 3 life. Destroy target artifact or enchantment, gain 4 life. Interesting. That's funny. This is intervention. Enters the battlefield, gain 4 life. Put a 1/1. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on a creature you control. Here's a life gain payoff. Whenever you gain life, draw a card. Another. Okay, there's a couple. Prevent all combat damage that will be dealt to you this turn. Gain 3 life. Purity's Guide enters the number of 1/1 counters on it. Equal to the greatest number of creatures or enchantments you control. Whenever 1/1 counter is put on it, gain 2 life. So, life gain. Gets +3 and lifelink. And when it dies, you gain 3 life. +1/+1. When it deals combat damage, you gain that much life. Lifelink. Sacrifice this to gain some life. Also, you can have it gain flying and lifelink. It's a Viper. Enters the battlefield. Lose a life, gain a life. This is legendary. Surge of Hope. Deal damage to a creature. Gain life. Additional cost. Gain life equal to its sacrifice creature's toughness. It's so laggy. Deal 1 damage to our creature. Gain a life. Attacks gain life. Whenever this or another non-token dies, it gets exiled. If you do, you return up to 1 target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. You gain 1 life for each creature. That card exiled this way, so it's gaining life. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has reach. When it dies, you get 2 life. Also, I should say that this Frostblade Arcanist does fit into our like resurrection stuff over here. Hunt for Aerith, you can need your upkeep, gain life. Sphinx, enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. Whenever I see death, whenever you gain life, it deals 2 damage to any target. Okay. So, our life gain payoffs are a single card in white, this red card that is not going to be worth it, and then our 2 blue cards. So, if we're really being serious about what is life gain, where does life gain matter, it's in white and blue. If you were already constructed, you could actually have like 4 of these, and that would probably be enough for a deck to be relevant, I would think. Otherwise, you just have a huge pile of things that have life gain. So I think life gain is in every color, but there's only payoffs in really these 2. That's interesting. I feel like there's a lot here. I'm not going to be able to go through all of it right now on stream. And probably next video, I'm going to want to be jumping into the next set. So, I think what I want to do is I want to build this block like it's the style of drafting where you'd get a pack from each of the sets in the block. And right now, we have a few cards that care about things that have no payoffs. And if there was a bunch of things that cared about that same thing and had no payoff, that would feel really weird in this set. But the idea of just having one or two, I think, is a really interesting idea of it sort of leading into the next set. This is Gods of Winter. We're seeing the factions and what's going on and all the turmoil. But we've seen like one card that cares about dragons and one card that cares about core soldiers. And that makes me wonder, where are they and what are they doing? I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to structure that set, what the phrase I'm going to use to be our deck name that represents our set as a whole, but I think that's the focus I want to have. Core soldiers and dragons, and how they fit into this story that is being built as we go. So, I think that's where I'm going to leave you today. If you're watching on YouTube, please let me know how you feel about this format, because it's very different, but I think it was nice to be able to at least take some time to really look at this as a whole. I didn't go into super deep analysis because it's a lot, and I don't want to go on and on and on and on and on forever. But let me know how you feel about this. I think it was good to at least have sort of a breather and see what we've made here before moving into the next thing. With all that said, I will catch you next time. This has been Gods of Winter, made using Urza's artificial intelligence. Please check them out if you haven't, and I will see you next time. Have a good night.